Welcome to Trenchometry. If you have spent any time in or around the trenches, playing offensive line isn't just blocking, it is chess at light speed. You're controlling angles while a 280-pound defender tries to destroy your running back. Every snap, calculating leverage, mirroring footwork, anchoring against pure violence. Miss one step and your franchise player gets flattened. We're here to discuss the most undervalued aspect of the game of football, the offensive line. Remember, you master the trenches, you win the war. My guest today was a standout offensive lineman at Lamar High School in Houston, Texas, leading his team to the state finals and twice being recognized as All-District and All-State. He would then join Houston Christian University for its inaugural football team. He would go on to take over 3,000 snaps playing at all 5 positions along the offensive front, while also earning a degree in kinesiology and sports performance. He now takes his experience he earned as the most valuable offensive lineman for the HCU Huskies and coaches the offensive line at Shadow Creek High School in the Houston area. He also runs his O-line academy called Dominant O-Line out of Pearland, Texas. There he works with all levels of offensive linemen from high school to professional, looking to build the best linemen from the ground up. He emphasizes fundamentals in both the physical and mental aspects of being an offensive lineman. Today, I would like to welcome CJ Barner to Trenchometry. CJ, welcome. So happy you're here.
Man, that's the best intro I think I've ever had, man. It's awesome.
Well,
Awesome. I'm excited to be here. I appreciate you.
That's awesome, man. So tell me a little bit about being a young guy out there coaching now. You got how many guys you got in your room, in your offensive line room that you are coaching each day?
I'm right at 15, 3 lines. So that's awesome. One of the things I often make it abundantly clear with my guys is hey, O-line is definitely, especially in most schools, it's the oldest coach on the staff, usually. The guy who's been around for decades. And I take a lot of pride in trying to bring a lot of new, fresh ideas and a lot of new, fresh energy to the position. Because, this day and age it's not lining up. And one thing that's kind of slightly drives me crazy is guys don't put their hand in the dirt anymore. It's I'm trying to blend both old school and new school every day with the old school mentality. Now, the new school mentality is about being pretty and looking all fancy and stuff versus hey, some of the old school fundamentals are putting your head in dirt, playing low, and being nasty. And so that's literally what that's what I preach to my guys every day. When you have a bunch of guys who are sometimes seemingly more worried about how they look versus how they play, is hey, what works is being the most mentally tough and the most physical. So having these guys, being a younger dude, it's I kind of bridging the gap because there's also I have an assistant online coach who is, I think he's 20 years older than me. So who is the older guy. So and I'm one of the youngest guys on the staff too. So I'm literally trying to bridge the gap either in my classroom and with my training. I'm trying to earn respect from the older guys and understand hey, there's still fundamentals that I'm teaching, but I also have I have different ways of teaching it, and I'm trying to have a little bit more fun. I'm not all assholes and elbows. Excuse me, I don't know if I could cuss, but
that's fine.
And just trying to, still show that, hey, O-line is still a tough guy position. And so, yeah, so that's how I deal with it for the most part.
I agree with you. I wanted my mentality for my offense. I wanted them to be able to walk up and say, okay, we're just going to stand on these 2 lines and you get to punch me in the face first. And then I'm going to punch you in the face. And we're just going to keep punching each other in the face until somebody quits.
Until somebody quits.
Yeah, that thought. And so you're right. There is kind of a new school, old school. The new school's kind of why would I do that? That might make my face look ugly. And the old school guys, you're going to be ugly, right?
Especially you got these guys, like I said, Will Campbell, who's kind of changed how the tackles are lining up nowadays. Tackles don't put their hand on the dirt anymore all of a sudden. It's just they perpetually play out of a 2-point stance. I'm just hey, if you're Will Campbell, 6'6", 315 pounds, yeah, you have some weight and body momentum to move a guy. But if you're a high school dude who is 6 foot tall, 245 pounds, you might want to work on some leverage and get a little bit lower. So kind of trying to combat the old school, new school tendencies with old school mentality. Yeah. Like I said, it's one of the things that some things just don't change. The toughest guy wins, period.
That's right.
Coming out of high school, I tell my guys, I was 217 pounds, which is not ideal to play left tackle. Yeah. But I was the toughest. I lifted hard. I worked hard. I didn't have a bunch of armbands and gloves on. I played with no gloves for the most part. And I took pride in just watching the desire for my opponents leave their eyes. They didn't want to play me anymore. And just, they said, being in good shape and chopping that tree, consistently chopping the tree down. And eventually when that fourth quarter hit, you can see it. Guys are not going to come off the ball as hard. They're gonna
Yeah,
be trying to play with their hands versus putting their face in the fan. And
that's right.
I said that's what gets you a state championship run. That's the kind of stuff that gets you offers. And I tell guys all the time, it's like, there's no way a 6'3", 215, 225 guy should have had X amount of offers. But the only thing they had was like heart and technique. And so I did get a lot of offers because of that. So just like I said, just one of the most uh, one of the most like frustrating parts about it is like wishing they could see it from my eyes, because like offensive
Mm,
line is not necessarily a hard position. It is just you have to be willing to put your body on the line. That's what separates us from the others. We don't get our names called when we score touchdowns. We might get your name on the paper for being an all-state selection, but if you're not that, you don't really have the glory. So that
that's
you got
right.
to live vicariously through the guys that you're trying to get in the end zone.
You
And the
gotta
more you get your guys in the end zone, yeah, the better.
be willing
And
to
it's
let
just
somebody stand on your back,
ex-
stand on your
literally,
shoulders.
literally run in your back, stand on your shoulders,
Mhm.
and follow you. The preaching, this game is becoming more, especially for the younger guys, so much more selfish. I have brand deals, I have NIL. What can you do for me? Versus like, hey guys, if you take five guys and play together, we'll get all that. And so
Yeah,
one of the things is just like the selfish part of the game is starting to get bigger, and it's kind of, I believe in a way, it's kind of hurting the game a little bit.
yeah.
But I totally still believe that it takes a unit, and you have to be physically tougher, and sometimes not even stronger. You just have to be tougher than the other guys, and to get it done. And getting that to get to the young guys is kind of, it's like it's hit and misses, because when they
Yeah.
do it, they get it, but then doing it consistently, it hurts. And that's the human condition. The human condition is to be comfortable, and
I would have
they
probably
just
been a really I would have been a really cheap NIL guy because I probably would have done it for cheese fries. Whatever place was willing to give out the cheese fries. Paul's Deli there in Williamsburg could have got me cheap at cheese fries. I would have been happy with that.
Super, bruh, anything. Listen, I loved it so much. Now I find myself, I didn't think I would be a coach, because every guy wants to play forever and retire, NFL legend. Kind of one of those things that just kind of happen naturally, and I can't get enough of it. Like, I love being around the guys in the locker room again, and just as I say, being able to pour into and teach these young guys, show them how to excel at the position is one of my favorite things. Especially when they get those light bulb moments
Yeah,
where they can figure it out, and you see that's how you're supposed to maul a guy.
that's
That's how
right.
you're supposed to climb. Yeah,
That's
so
right.
it's dope.
What kinda offense are you guys running down there, coach? It's Shadow Creek,
Spread?
right? Did I say that
Yeah, it's a
right?
spread. Yeah,
Okay.
Shadow Creek. It's a spread offense, and we like to spread them out. And we have, truth be told, one of the most talented high school teams I think I've ever been around or seen.
Wow.
We have a forced. We have three, like almost all, I think all of them are all Americans. Aiden Starling, who's a 4-star. We have Joseph Adai's son, Jalen Adai, who's a 5-star.
Okay.
We also have dude named, well, two brothers, Chris Stewart and Carter Stewart. Well, Carter is committed. He's on the defense side of the ball. He is committed to Mizzou, where Chris is committed to Texas.
Oh,
We have a 4-star running back, Tristan Willis, who's, I mean, a little bit of a spark plug, right at 5'9", 215. He has a bunch of different offers. I got BJ, Brandon LaFell's son is also on our team, who is a freshman, but he is a quarterback slash athlete. And so we have a lot of good skill players. So we just try to get them the ball, and it kind of makes our job at offensive line a little easy. But at the same time, you get, like I said, easy and comfort is one of those things I'm constantly having to combat, because, like
yeah.
I said, we get great run boxes, great boxes. We just have to learn how to like maul people off the ball. But
Right.
we're gonna spread it out, and we're gonna run up the middle, third and short. And we usually stay ahead of the chains. We have a good, right now. We're sitting at 5-3, which is, there's not the record, a dream record, but we've lost to some really good teams who. And when I say lost to, is we lost the game ourselves. It wasn't like the team did anything
Right.
special. We
Gave it away.
special teams, yeah. And so we lost those three games under 15 points, like total of 15 points.
Oh, wow,
So
close games.
yeah.
What are you looking for in this spread offense? You got all these skill guys that are going off to all these big impressive schools. What are you starting off with as far as characteristics of a tackle versus characteristics of a guard versus characteristics of a center that you're looking for in those guys you're going to put out there on the field? Is there anything specific in those that's specific to each one of those positions that you want to see a player
So
profile before you put them there?
yeah, so my tackles, I want my tackle to probably be comfortable in space. I like my tackles to be athletic, a little
Mhm.
lengthy. And I do know people do get caught up in, oh, 6'6", 6'7". I don't need you to be 6'6", 6'7". I need you to have
Mhm.
sweet feet, and you have medium to high level football IQ. Cool, they can recognize blitzes coming from the outside. My guards, plug, tree stump built types. I don't want to say they don't have to be as smart, but because I have a good tackle and a really high IQ center. The guards are kind of like, I don't want to say the pawns, but I would say like the knights. They're gonna do the
Mhm.
dirty work in
Mhm.
chess, right? I'm gonna make our guards have to be physical at the point of contact. Have to be, especially if we're gonna run power, one back power.
Yeah.
You can't get blown up in the hole. You have to be in attack mode. Again, my centers are kind of going to be medium. Like the old school thought is the center could be the shortest guy. My preference, especially since I'm new, I used to pull as a center because I played center in high school. I used to pull out like I would like my center to be athletic, but that's a hard ask. Just somebody who knows one, center has to be the leader. I firmly believe that the center has to be the dude that makes the group gel, the dude that's the ringleader, the dude that understands everybody, the dude that gets everybody in the right place,
Right.
and including the running back, right? So a high football IQ kind of dude who has to be selfless. I don't, and unless I mean when I say selfless is like you're not gonna be. You might have a little double team here and there, but you have to do that extra to go to make the play work. So that's generally the profiles that I'm looking for. It's kind of like along the lines. I'm not a big size dude. Like I said, in high school, I was 6'3", 215, 220. But I need all of my guys. I mean, I need initially to have some sort of athletic, quick twitch. And so I'll sacrifice size for a little quick twitch, athletic ability, good footwork. And so that's kind of what I'm looking for when it comes to the profiles.
So are you telling me that your guards are gonna be doing a lot of solo blocking? Is that how
Yeah.
that shakes out? So you wanna
Yeah.
reestablish that line of scrimmage and not have to worry about having a center or tackle help that guy out to get some momentum going?
Exactly. They
Okay.
gotta be dogs. They gotta be dogs. They gotta be
That's
dogs.
it's fun to find those guys, right?
Yeah, true road graders are hard to find, but once you do get them, it kind of does free up what you can do up front, especially without. I mean, again, now if you don't have that, I'm all for double teams, and it makes sense. I just
Mhm.
feel like if you have a running back, he is, well, the best way I could put it is like it kind of makes the hole faster if you have a dude who can like get there and get it done,
Right.
and so it doesn't. I don't want my running back to have to slow his speed. I want the running back to get the ball, hit the hole, and not have to think or not have to read too much, if that makes sense.
No, I got you. That's my goal too. I always put my best run blockers at guard. I just wanted to make sure that if we could solo block a 3 technique, that just made everybody's
Mhm.
life much easier.
So much easier. So much
And
easier.
1 techniques were always I didn't care if they could block a 1 or a 2, but if they could block a 3 technique, they were probably gonna end up at guard because that was such a big that frees up your tackle now. The tackle can
Yep.
just kinda if at most he can just give like a obligatory pat on the back or
Just to
ignore it
hand the whole
altogether.
space
Yeah, exactly,
and
exactly.
move on.
And
Yeah.
and we were running the options. That makes it even that
Yeah.
much better if I can get that 3 technique taken care of by a single guy, you're gonna
And
have
the
a
tackle
tough
can
time because that
climb.
means my tackle has a free release to your linebacker, and we have this little lane right there, and we're running the
Right.
no mesh veer, so we're hitting on it fast.
Yeah. Super
Um,
fast.
so we're
And
past that guy fast. If we get anything on him in movement, it's gonna be a quick, we call it a fast break
good. Game
offense and
over.
on.
Game
So,
over. We
um,
have a
go
really
ahead.
good guard, but the caveat with O-line is injuries, of course.
Mm,
You start off with guys, and then week 6, week 7 guys go down, and so we're kinda right now we're playing with a mismatched group. I've moved now my road grader guard, who's a good athlete, by the way, is now we our left tackle's out for the season, so we bumped
yeah.
him out to left tackle, and our left tackle's, the not huge size guy, but has a dog mentality
Mhm.
and is a superb athlete. I mean, like a sub 5 guy and really is comfortable out in space. So losing him hurt.
Yeah.
And so moving Mark Guard back out, plugging some guys in, and it's been kind of wishy washy the last couple of weeks. And like I said, last week we ran into a really good front 7 with guys, offers all over the place. Joseph Credit, who's a pretty good linebacker who's committed to Kansas right now. I mean, they do a plug and scrape. So if you have guys who are any type of hesitant, it kind of shoots you in your foot.
Yeah.
But yeah, truly missing my road grader at guard right now. Literally, literally.
We had back in 2007, we were on a state championship run, and probably about week 7 or 8, my right guard went down. So I looked at
Mm,
the next guy in, and I didn't have a whole lot of confidence in him, but he was kind of a big kid. So I was like, "Hey, man, get in. We don't have any other choice. Like, you got to go." So get
exactly.
in there, and sure enough, this kid gets in there, and he kind of starts to blossom as a guard. And now I'm like, "Oh, this is great." So we go 3 or 4 weeks. Well, about the time I'm getting my guard back, the other guard goes down. So now I got to move
Dude.
the backup to the left guard, and my right guard comes
Mm,
back. And so we go on. I think it was I know probably the semifinals. We're going into the semifinals week, and my other guard's going to come back. So I'm gonna have 3 guards now. I can put in a rotation and feel comfortable with, and I'm all excited. I'm
yeah.
like, all right, we got 3 guards coming
That's
back. So it was the regional championship game. That's what it was. We're playing the regional championship game. After the game, I look at my backup guard, and he's crying. I'm like, Todd, you okay? What's going on? Are you hurt? He's like, no, coach, tears of joy. I'm just so excited and happy. I'm like, this is awesome. So then we go on to the semifinals game, and my left guard comes back. I got a rotation going. After the game, I see Todd, and we win the game. We're going to the state finals, and Todd's crying. He's all got tears coming down his eyes. I'm like, tears of joy, right, Todd? He goes, no, coach, my ankle really hurts. I can barely walk. So I go from missing the
man,
right guard out, the left guard out, and then the
the guard.
backup guard gets hurt. We went to the state finals. I didn't have any. Both guards were hurt. The left tackle had a
Oh,
broken ankle. He played on a broken ankle, and my backup guard was out. So we were playing. Like, we looked like the the drum fife corps from the Revolution, walking around with all that stuff. So I feel your pain there, man. That
yeah,
stinks when you have to do
yeah,
all that. All right,
yeah.
coach. So how are you? I'm assuming in the spread you're going to throw the ball around a little bit too, right? You getting
Mhm.
the pass pro in, and how you incorporating that as well? What are you looking for there on that?
So again, that's where the football IQ. We do slide protection, running back opposite of call for the
Okay.
most part. Three simple rules: get out of your stance, need a crotch, strike, and grab. I try to simplify it as much. It's one of those things I feel like people one either do two things: don't coach it enough or overcoach it, and now you got your guys thinking. And I
Right.
just try to tell my guys like, hey, we know the snap count. We want to get to our spots, and then we want to, at least, force the defense to make a decision. It's as simple as that. So again, when it comes to like pass pro, tackles, it depends. Like where they line up depends on the set.
Okay.
I'm not a strict, but you have to take this kind of set. I know coaches who do like backpedal and do jellyfish sets or waterfall and do a lot of
Right.
sprint out. No, set it up 45. The thing that my rule is the wider the rusher, the more vertical the kick. All right,
Okay.
that's pretty standard. I feel, and it makes sense. You want to work your angles. You don't want to get too out there. Now, like my left tackle who's out, if you're a good athlete and you're good in space, you can get away with some things. Now, if for somebody who is green and fresh and doesn't really know much, I'm much more stricter on the rules. Now, my guards, I kind of want them to not necessarily set at the 45. I want them kind of get off the line of scrimmage, kind of see what the three is going to do. Again, I still want that outside need to be midline. Still want to make sure I'm staying on the inside half. And I think the person who has the most to deal with would be like a center against a zero. And
Okay.
that way I kind of that is people coach it differently. I coach not backpedal, but settle off the line of scrimmage, give
Mhm.
yourself some space, strike and push. So I'm gonna settle back. If he goes left, then I'm gonna set flat, then push. Kind of open up the middle of the pocket. And also, like I said, if you have a real dog, it kind of gives you a little space to play with, give you a little time to kind of see what's gonna happen. Also, get out and see if there's anybody coming. Like I said, I don't try to overcoach it.
Right.
It's one of those things like one, two, three. If you get out your stance good, meaning you get out with good body angles, meaning my lower body, I'm in good pad level. I get my knee to the inside, get my knee to the crotch, and I strike and grab. You're probably going to win 95% of the time.
And where's
Um,
your launch point? Where's your quarterback's launch point? Is he straight behind the center? Is that kind of like a dash, a roll? What kind of
It's
launch point
straight
you got?
behind the center,
Straight behind
straight
the center.
behind the
Okay.
center, straight
All
behind the
right.
center. So yeah, so it doesn't. There's not a bunch, not a bunch of stuff to be worried about. Like I said, my tackles get a good 45. It kind of sets the width pretty decently. My two guards, if you have 3 and 1, of course, 3 and 1, the center and the guard are going to work together, so on and so forth. So
Eyes on the backer, looking for a twist of some sort
yep.
with a linebacker
Yeah.
coming.
So for
Standard.
sliding away,
Yeah.
if you're sliding to the left, hand on, eyes on the backer. And just bump off, bump into it, bump off, and the hard part, especially I say the hardest part about the what we do is trying to get on the same level for twist. But if you have eyes on the backer, you could kind of anticipate it. So that's
Right.
why I teach it the way it is.
Are you teaching your tackles like a punch and stab technique, a two-hand punch? What do you like to
So
emphasize with those
one,
guys?
two, punt. So stab and grab. So,
Okay.
uh, and since we were focused, I usually focus on the inside half. I want former also play left tackle. So my left hand is my snake hand, my grab, my stab hand. So I or my measuring stick is what I also call it.
Mhm.
Lets me I could stab you and still stay in good body position without lunging and maybe throw you off your rush. Stab, inside hand grab, right? And it's kind of the same thing. Center's a little different. You have a guy right on top, you set off, two-hand strike, get your head out. But my tackles, for the most part, are gonna have. I'm really coach independent hands
Okay.
because now they have. I feel like every year these defensive guys come up with more pass rush moves that involve their hands and do all these fancy stuff. I feel like at tackle, a two-hand stab kind of puts you in a compromised position. Now, if you win the two-hand, cool. I'm not going to sit here and overcoach you,
Mhm.
but I've never coached. Hey, we're gonna go two-hand out the gate, just because it opens up that shoulder a little too much for my liking. It
Yeah.
opens up for the counter. So I want to stab hand, outside hand via the neck, right right hand, either bicep or just inside that pad right there. We're gonna play right there. We want our hands on that inside half, inside of the neck. So that way, if they knock down that outside hand, you still have an inside hand there. You can replace, or even like I said, my measuring stick, use it as a bait and strike. Have it
Yeah.
because the defensive linemen like barracudas. They're attracted to shiny stuff.
Yeah.
So anything that's in their face, they're gonna want to swipe it, have it, punch, and it's just it. There's a lot of different stuff you can do with the tackles but again, I just kind of, especially being a newer guy on staff, I try not to ruffle feathers and do all these fancy drills, especially
Right.
if kids are not going to get it. Um, yeah,
You wanna get some payment for the energy and focus you're putting into it. You wanna see some results there too. You don't wanna spend all your
yeah,
time. I've coached with some guys that they'll do in a practice week during a 3-day practice week, they'll do 15, 18, 20 different drills in 3 days. And I always first of
nothing's
all,
going to stick.
good for you for doing that, but you spend all your time just doing drill work. Like, at some point, there's technique, there's some baseline fundamental technique that you need
Hmm.
to influence and
Hmm.
incorporate daily, and then there's some scheme-specific stuff you need to get in, and I think if you're doing that many drills, it's hard to get to the schematic specifics, and so here you are, you're kinda shortchanging your guys for the week, prep week, in that you're just doing all these you're just doing drill, 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 drill,
Right,
and then you get up in team and your guys don't the position group doesn't know what to do.
right.
How are
You get
you
better
so
at football
Go
by
ahead.
playing football. You
Oh,
get
yeah.
better at
Gr
football by playing football. That's
Agreed.
kind of just how you need more reps than anything, more live reps. And like I said, we do a lot of best on best stuff. So that way
Yeah.
they could get a feel for full speed. They
Mhm.
could get a feel. And then we watch film as a team as well. So it's like one of those things, hey, like, you're going to get 50, 60 reps of good on good at practice.
Right.
So doing boring stuff that's not going to stick versus doing stuff that you've already kind of been through the situation, already been through the scenario, and want to learn how to improve in that scenario.
That's right.
Is how I find the best way to do it. I'm gonna say they get up. The kids are such short attention spans. So
Yes.
I don't want to bore them with a bunch of schematic and talk and what ifs and this, that, and the other. Let's line up and drill. Let's line up and play football and let's see where we're at and let's see what we need to fix.
Yeah.
Then that's kind of how my approach is. Okay, hey, we're having a bad time taking bad first steps. Okay, then I'll do a drill for that. And
Yeah.
we'll
That's
do a
what we're
drill
gonna
for
work on.
and
That's right.
that's what we're gonna work on. We're not getting our hands in the right placement in run game. Okay, let's work on. And so the way I teach run game is a little different than punching in pass pro. I want thumbs up in pass pro, but
Mhm.
I want elbows together in run game. I want to get up underneath, squeeze our elbows, low to high, and drive through our hips. And so understanding the difference in that and understand if I have a guy who's trying to punch straight hand and run game, like, hey, you're losing all your power here. And you kind of don't you're trying to bench press to do versus
Yeah.
let's use our hang clean. Let's use our squat. Let's use our power clean
The
in
stronger
the run
lifts.
game.
Yeah.
Ex- and in the
The
run
larger
game,
lifts.
that's exactly versus the bench. Like I said, we watch it, we break down, hey, and the way specifically break down film, we watch, and it's a lot of it's player ran in the sense of like, all right, this is the play. What do y'all have? They give me the answer. Okay, left tackle, what are we supposed to be doing here? Oh, we're supposed to be backside gap hinging. Okay, how do you gap hinge? Well, coach, you're supposed to take a hard step inside and set back out. Cool. Let's look at your rep here. What do you do? Did you take a good first step? Yes. Did you gap back out? No. Why not? Well, this. Well, okay. If you do this, and so on and so
Yeah.
forth. And so that way they are taking accountability for either doing it or not doing it. And so that way it kind of makes it easy coaching versus like, oh, do it, do it, do it. And then when it comes time to the 15, 18 drills that you run, they're, oh, what am I supposed to do again?
Yeah.
Versus physically feeling what it's supposed to feel like and physically seeing what it's supposed to look like. They know. And once they repeat it back to me, I have confidence in the fact that they know what they're supposed to do.
Right,
So,
and I felt that way in games too, like, maybe the first series, you're 3 and out, maybe the second series, you're 3 and out, but don't get to that 3rd series, and all of a sudden, my head coach is panicking, he's like, he wants to do things different, I'm like, "Dude,
mm,
no,
mm-mm,
calm down,
mm-mm,
it takes these guys we just had 6 plays, we're now going on play 7. They now have an idea where that guy's gonna be, they have an idea what's going on, we're starting to get our angles
mm,
down, we're starting to get our timing down, let it
exactly.
happen, like, let it breathe, don't just rush into it and be like, "Oh, man, we gotta hit the eject button on the game plan."
Mm,
Calm down, like, let this thing breathe, we'll get to it, and like you said, the live reps are the best way to learn, and while you're doing that
right.
during a game, like, you have no idea what that guy's gonna be like on the field Friday night, you guessing, you watch
No.
film, you have a you film sometimes, like, we went to the state semis last year, I'm watching film, I'm like, "Hey, we got I think we can move these guys out of the way," and I go to the game, and I walk out on the field, and I'm like, "Holy crap, they're monsters." It was like it didn't their size didn't come out on the film, you know? And I
Right,
walk out and the
right.
defensive line's like 6'4", 6'5", 6'5", 6'4", and I'm looking at our team and I'm like
Mm.
5'11", 6'1", 5'10", you know? And I'm
Uh,
like, these inner
the one
city Orlando boys are they're gonna have a
yeah.
field day with our little Southwest Florida offensive line that's not used to seeing this size, so it
Oh,
takes a
one
little
of the funny
while.
things about the film, I learned this when I was playing college ball. It's kinda film is never gonna show how big or how fast they really are.
Yeah.
And I always tell my guys, just always prepare for the guys you're to play against to be a little bit bigger, a little bit faster than you think on film.
Yes.
And so that way, because one of the things you can see, it may not look all that on film sometimes, but then you come out like, oh, it's a little bit better than you
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
So especially like I said, they had the last time we played Pearland Oilers, they had a crowd. They had run a true 3-3 or 3-3 stack, and so they're in 0. I mean, you can tell he's big, but he has offers like LSU, Ole Miss, has a bunch of big offers. And I'm like, we've seen big dudes before, but like, hey, he looks to be more of a play with his hands, read and
Mhm.
react kind of guy. And I'm like, well, this guy, he's probably, I'm trying to scheme up sideline to sideline because my guys are slightly better athletes than most. And then I mean, a little bit bigger, a little bit quicker. And
Polar
I said, I
bear.
caught myself right. And he could play true both A gaps and
Yeah.
sideline to sideline and play well B gap to B gap truly. And I was like, "Oh, okay, I felt I didn't listen to my own advice. I didn't scheme it the way I needed
You
to. I
forgot.
didn't yeah,
You forgot,
yeah. So
briefly
it's
forgot.
and like
Coach,
he came out, it's like he looked 6'3", but he was 6'5", 6'6". Oh,
I'm telling you, I
okay.
coached in that Army All-American game a few years ago, and Dexter Lawrence was the defensive tackle on the other side,
Got you.
and
Yeah.
big old Ben Cleveland from Georgia was a Georgia right guard for years and
Yeah.
played with the Ravens. I think he's with the Falcons now, if I'm not mistaken. Those 2 guys got together, and we did one-on-ones the first time, and I was like, "Ben's 6'9", Dexter's, I don't know, he's every bit of 6'6". And,
Hmm.
and so I usually stand right behind the one-on-ones you know, I call the signal and the cadence, and it sounded like 2 VW buses running into each other on the snap. And it was so fast and violent and loud. And I said, all right, I need to take about 4 steps back because if those jokers start coming at me, I'm gonna be underneath a grizzly bear fight and I
They
got no shot.
no shot. No
None.
shot
So
at all.
I can envision what that guy looked like that was going probably just as wide as B gap to B gap is probably what was
Yeah.
going on there.
Oh
So
my goodness. Well, dude, I had to tip my hat off. I told him good game. He played a heck of a game. And it's one of those things that, oh, you can see he can get upfield, cool, but can you move sideline to sideline? Yeah.
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 So coach, you got a freshman kid coming to your program and you want to teach him
Mhm.
these run blocking skills. Where are you starting him at? What's the first drill you're going to do that kind of gets him moving towards being a great run blocker?
So I'm a firm believer that everything O-line is ground up. And this is where the new school and the old school I feel like the old guys kind of look at me a little silly. First thing first, I need to see where his feet are at. I
Mhm.
always, whether it's training or freshman, one of my EDDs are we're going to start with the ladder. We always do ladder work. We're always going to, get our foot speed up, get our
Mhm.
foot mind connection, our proprioception skills up, and see because here's one thing, one of the misconceptions. Well, one of the young guys always think they did something that they didn't do, right? Versus like if I'm gonna take a 6-inch step and you need to know how to take a 6-inch step and
Mhm.
know that you did it versus like, oh, coach, I definitely took my step. And then we look and you've pivoted on your foot, right?
Yeah.
So I always start from the ground up. Let's see where your feet are at. Then, two, I need to see where your hips are at. Can you get in the effective, efficient stance? Meaning we need to be low on our hips and being able to come out of that stance. And so I start with that. And then my favorite, the boards. We could always do the boards. I feel like I take gotten away from the boards because I feel like it's too robotic. And so I just use a little 6-inch cone for perspective and for
Mhm.
like measuring. That's about it. And the first thing is first, we're going to build some muscle memory. We're
Mhm.
going to get in our stance. We're going to sit and hold our stances. We're going to sit and hold our first steps. And we're going to, like I said, I spoon, like just every little babies crawl before they walk. You got to
Yeah.
spoon feed it to them. So, what does good pat level feel like? What does good first steps feel like? We're going to sit there and burn your legs the first week and a half of just holding good body position. Flat back, pull your shoulders back,
Yeah.
low, good first step. Make sure our eyes are on target. Our first step and the way I kind of coach any type of run game, depending on the one, two, or one, a head up or a three, depending on inside, outside zone, depends on our first step. If we're trying to get to the play side guy, our step needs to be angled at the play side. We want to work through the V of his neck, not try to
Mhm.
go around to get there. We want to work through the V of his neck, getting vertical movement, not sideline to sideline movement. And so I should literally, break it down, like hold, literally push them down in the position they need to be in and
Yeah.
have them hold it and eventually, once they get used to it, then you speed it up. So, any young guys, this is how we're going to do it. The first week is going to be semi boring and probably the most painful because a lot of young guys don't have the leg strength to be in a good stance yet.
Right.
So we're gonna do that. And then week two, we're gonna add a little bit more of a physical mentality to it. Okay, now we got our steps down. Let's focus on being violent at the point of contact. Guys, especially who are new to football, don't know what violent means, don't know what physical means. When they do decide to hit something, all the fundamentals that you just worked on usually go right out the window. They go
Yeah.
right, once they start driving a guy, they get skinny again. So, okay,
Mhm.
let's break it back down. So, point of contact, let's keep a base. What does that look like, coach? Keeping our feet wide. Let's
Yeah.
make sure we get used to driving in this base that we need. So if any type of post contact movement happens, we're still ready for it. So then that's week two. Okay, the week two is follow with contact and finishing through contact. Then week three we're gonna do combos
Mhm.
and climbing. Which again, a lot of guys. Okay, I get to go. I have to go to a linebacker. Okay, I'm gonna pop up and run there. No, no, no. That never works unless you're a freak athlete and and know how to play in space already.
Super freak,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Like super freak, which is not most freshmen, high school freshmen. Okay.
Seldom, yeah.
So we're going to, I'm sure you've said this 1,000 times, follow our tracks. We're going to
Mhm.
practice having a track. Practice, what does that look like? That means, okay, now week three, if the guy has never played football, he has no concept of angles. Now the angle play starting to come in play.
Yeah.
So am I attacking the play side or I call play side plus? Am I tagging to the space that he wants to go? Let's
Right.
start there, and then the more comfortable you get, then the faster you can take there and get there. Then the angle could change just slightly. And so how do you do that? Again, we're going to do the same thing we would do if a person was there, but just make sure we arrive violently. How do you do that? By staying low, squeezing our elbows together, low to high collision. And one of the things that's the hard part, and this is where the mentality is. You do all of that, and then guys feel like they have to think to do that. And what happens when you got guys who think on that second level? They hesitate, which is probably one of my pet peeves because everybody is a bully in Little League. Everybody that's on varsity, especially at Shadow Creek, was a Little League bully, and you can freaking destroy everybody. So I believe it should not change. It should
Mhm.
not change. You should have the same confidence and the same mentality that I'm the big dog. And so after teaching proper technique, of course, it just takes rep. And you got to rep it. And it's funny that we're talking about this because it's literally what I worked on today at training. It's like, guys, being violent through the track, right? And I always say we're tanks. Tanks have track wheels.
Yep.
Once it's set on an angle, that's where it's gonna go.
Yep.
It ain't gonna change. It doesn't matter if a guy tries to squeeze you. You should be in a good body position to where you can rip through it and just keep on climbing. And so that would be the fundamentals in like a 3 week span on how I would teach a young guy who's never played O line how
Yeah.
to do the run game. Like I said, I believe only with repetition comes the dominant part, which is like the big part. So we have to get our reps in. I don't care if your legs feel like jello. And that's kind of like I said, that double downs on the conditioning and the later part of the game. When your
Yeah.
legs are jello, you still have to focus doing the right thing. Period. There
Everybody's
is
counting on you.
no, yeah, there is no I'm gonna take a playoff. And one of the things is kind of talking about the selfish part back in the early in the conversation. It's when we decide if we take a playoff or we don't do our job, people get hurt, careers
Mhm.
get ended.
That's
Point
right.
blank. Period.
That's right.
Joe Theismann's and Joe. I always show Joe Theismann's leg. All
Yep.
right, tackle, miss the block, whiffs the block, doesn't finish the block. Season's done. It
Yeah.
is. It can happen like that, and
Career.
especially if you only have one good one good quarterback, and let's say it happens week 2, well, your season's kaput. It's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
And so, and you'll forever be the point of ridicule, the guy that people are going to talk about. It's your fault.
Yep.
And so we want to avoid that at all costs. And so there's truly, and that's why I love O line so much. Being the protector and the provider. And it kind of like I said. Now that I'm a new father. I just had a daughter, 10
Congratulations.
months. Yeah, 10 months old now. Her birthday's in a couple weeks. So, but the protector and the provider aspect, I feel like O line's prepared me for this. Like I'm gonna put my face in the fan regardless. I'm not gonna flinch in
Yeah.
adversity. You can't, and you have to have that same mentality, and you have to have a love for the guys that you block. And so that you protect them and make sure you provide them with opportunities to score.
Yep.
When you provide opportunities to score, you win games.
That's
And
right.
so I try to get and pour that into my guys, and they're just not just starting to get they're starting to get it more and starting to buy into that mentality more. It's like, hey, when we hurt, when we strain, when we're dying, that means we're doing our job.
Yeah.
And when we're doing our job, that means we're scoring points and we're winning games.
Good stuff's
And
happening.
so, yeah, and I try to have a strong mentality on, hey, if don't look at the scoreboard, focus on your job.
Yeah.
Do what you if you and I say this all the time. If you focused on beating that guy's ass every play at the end of the game, and you did it every play, I guarantee you,
Good stuff. That's
it's,
right. I
it's as
always would
simple as that.
I always harped to my young guys that I wanted them to keep their chest on their knee, keep that flat back, keep
Yep,
keep
yep,
compressed down there. And then
yeah,
at some point, I don't know why it took me so long to figure this out. I was probably 10 or 15 years in my coaching career. I figured out that I would harp on the 6-inch step, and of course I'd have them on a grid, and we're all taking 6-inch
yeah.
steps, 6-inch steps. And then all of a sudden I looked down one day and I went, gosh dang, these lines on the field are about how far I want them to step. So instead of being on a grid, I would then go have them find a yard line. And I'd say, I want your
Mm,
toe to start on one side of the yard line, and we're going to do one step. And where does your toe? There's a measuring step. You can just look down. I didn't. If my heels pass the line, you went too darn far. If
exactly.
your toe is just past the line, then that's where you want to go. And so it took me a
Mm-hmm.
while to figure that out. But all of a sudden, I'd say, all right, find a hash mark, find a sidelines, find a yard line. Let's go. Get your stance, put your
Mm-hmm.
toes on the line, and then we could measure those 6-inch steps. And they had that, like, I didn't have to go around and look at everybody. I could look at a lot of the guys, but they could test themselves. Hey, where do you look?
Right.
And then I could see them adjust, get to where you got to be, get to the right spot. And they could see the guys, younger guys adjusting. The older guys usually had it down pretty good. But
Mm-hmm.
that's a good. I agree with that. Everything you just said there. I'm a wholeheartedly a believer in the
Awesome.
inner way. Right. That's the. I'm a believer, and I'm
You know,
buying stock in that.
it's not my way. It's been around, and I'm just like I said, I just
No,
maybe
coach, it's your
have
way,
new.
man. It's your way. You better claim it and make it the
You know
gospel.
what? You're
That's
right. Yeah, the Barner way. This is how a run game's supposed to be done.
that's
Exactly.
your. As far as they know, you are the topic expert, and it has to be
Oh,
your way or the highway.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
That's awesome. All right, coach, what's a one drill that you think that you're going to get done? Weather's coming in. You're going to get this drill done today, regardless of everything
Okay.
else.
Fits and finishes. We're
Okay.
gonna do fits and finishes every day. I need to be confident that you're gonna take good first steps, get hat play side, and then know how to finish to that. That's something that we're going to do every day. The assistant O line coach, Coach James, he works on a lot more pass pro, which I get. We do throw the ball,
Hmm.
but when you okay, and this is my school, I was a pretty decent athlete. My guys are pretty decent athletes. It can be convoluted, it can be complicated if you make it. Stay in front of the guy, right?
Hmm.
Have good body angles. Run game, I feel, is much more like chess moving at 1,000 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Because at the snap of a ball, everything could change. And
Hmm.
so I want to be confident, like, hey, if this guy sparks across or moves across or and you see you need to have your second foot in the ground already. You need to be so all that kind of stuff, those fits and those finishes, especially there's a lot of odd fronts that we play against in our district, which is I kind of they love odd fronts. They like going against odd fronts. I never was a big fan of going against odd fronts
Mhm.
because all in my experience, anytime I played against an odd front, people were dropping them out of helicopters. And if you weren't confident, if you weren't confident at all in what you were doing, you could make a mistake. But these dudes, I mean, they silly really to thrive against the odd front. So I just want to make sure that because when it's time to, and we're having an issue throwing the ball, or because we don't, our quarterback, he's young, and he's gonna make young guy mistakes.
Mhm.
So when it's time to line up and run the ball, we need to be ready because we're going to drop back 30 times. We're going to drop. So they do pass pro enough. I feel that. And that's why we're going to do our fits and our finishes. We're going to
Yeah.
make sure we have tight elbows, come up underneath, low to high, and have play side, working through the V of the neck, and at the very least, make sure our feet we're not taking lazy steps. Lazy steps would be the death of offense, the
No,
death
that's
of
right.
offensive line.
I
Yeah.
agree.
And so if you drill lazy steps out of them, you could drill it to where there's by nature, they are taking good first steps, physical second steps, and finishing through the point of contact, then we're good.
Then
That's
yeah,
that's all I need at
success.
practice because it'll carry on through the rest of practice or it'll carry on for the rest of the week. Even if I said we got to, do it for 15, 20 minutes, cool. That's all I need every week. Make
Mhm.
sure that my guys are still getting their arches in the ground, still pounding through the point of contact and finishing because yeah, we gotta finish.
Yeah.
That's the dominant way, man.
What's one drill that you feel like you do that nobody else like, "This drill I'm doing, and I feel like nobody else understands the value of it, and we're gonna continue
Ooh.
to do it even though" like, if I ask the guy in the district next door, "You ever do this drill?" "Oh, no, that's a silly drill," but you really feel value in it. Is there one that comes to mind that
Yeah, actually, and I still people look at me a little silly. I do this, and it's kind of I'm not gonna say in the end. I'll take all the credit. Med ball starts, and
Mm,
what is it? What it exactly is? You just get a nice. You don't want a super hard med ball. You want one of those med balls filled with sand that are a little soft. You put it on the ground, and you simply not make sure your angles do kind of do a single leg squat on top of it.
mhm,
Not your foot, but you put your knee onto the med ball, right? And what it does is it just primes that back leg to push primes that back leg to push and push. You want to learn how to push off that backside
yeah,
leg to get front side angle, right? And so it's one of the things that looks silly, but then you take it out, take the ball out, and then you tell them to get in their stance and to push off of that ball, especially if you're going to run a lot of stretch mid zone, right? You need to get your guys going, but trying to stay square. And it also helps for open pulling. If you're going to run any type of GT power, right? Get
mhm,
guys learn how to be explosive off that backside leg, which I feel like 90% of O line is pushing off the backside leg. And so getting that muscle to used to pushing hard and fast and doing it consistently is like it may look a little silly. So what I do is like if I have the med ball and I'm facing this way, I'll have cones at different angles so I can learn what it feels like to push off at a certain
at
angle
those
and get my
different angles, yeah.
yeah, boom, 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 get my feet in the ground
Mhm,
fast. And so, and then the last angle will be the open pull or what the old school bucket rip run, get that hip open and get low. And the med ball is helping you kind of already be in a low position. So
mhm,
you're kind of learning how to, deal with have pad level and do it at the same time. I don't see a lot of people doing it. And listen, especially guys who haven't been around football long or coaches who don't have a bunch of drills, they kind of look at me a little like, what are you doing here? But then, like I
yeah,
said, once I take the mad ball out and I tell them to get in their stance, it clicks really fast. Like, oh, okay, that's what this is supposed to feel like. The mind muscle connection is super big with my all of my coaching. That's why I have them do static stuff. I just want them to build the repetitions so they understand the way it's supposed to feel.
yeah.
Um,
I
yeah, I
was
love that
talking
drill.
I was talking to, Jared Suthers, I don't know,
Yeah,
a few
yeah,
days ago. Jared was talking about the same thing about it's not people say step. It's not a step, it's a drive off the back foot. You're driving that back foot and
mm,
pushing and accelerating that step. You're gaining ground, but you're
exactly.
driving off that back foot to
Back
gain the
foot.
ground with your front foot, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So he and I just talked about that, I don't know, day
I'm
2
a big
days
fan
ago,
of his stuff.
whenever it was.
Actually, yeah, I see his stuff on Instagram all the time. I'm a
Yeah,
big
I mean,
fan of
he was,
Jared. Yeah.
phenomenal but talk about the same type of thing. They're driving off that back foot and really putting off the weight on the balls of the foot of the back foot and driving that front foot forward. It's not just a step.
Mhm.
He was like, that's kind of a passive thing to say. It's a step. You're driving. There's no passivity about it. It's
Exactly.
driving and making that thing go, accelerating it forward. All right.
Trying to
So
get
on the
as
other side of
explosive
the
as possible.
yeah, exactly, exactly. On the other side of the coin, then, what's a drill that you see a lot of guys doing that you just don't understand? It doesn't register with you. You're like, that juice isn't worth the squeeze. I don't necessarily feel like I'm getting a whole lot out of that drill.
Let me think. Something. So I come from you can learn something from everything,
Hmm.
even what not to do. But and it's a drill that I've done 1,000 times in college, and it's the waterfall drill where you have three offensive linemen and you just kind of go down the line and hit
Hmm.
them. I get it. If you're working on strike timing, cool. But elsewise, you're not gonna really you're gonna strike and hold on to something and drive with your feet versus just pop, slide,
Yeah.
pop. And so I get what it's trying to do. And I understand the aspects, especially if you have guys who have bad strike timing or who don't know how to
Or
get
lean into their punch
lean
or whatever.
right,
Yeah.
who and especially don't know how to kick the post or stuff
Hmm.
like that. I get, but I'm not gonna say it's not. It depends on what your guys need. There's always something. My guys are really decent athletes and understand and have really good hands. So that's not something I do quite a bit. I do a different, and I kind of do a different version of that. And it's using two guys. And so what I do is like, especially for guards or tackles, right? I'll have a guy spark inside and a linebacker come down. So
Hmm.
what we have to, and I'll flip it depending on what they need or whatever. But I want to get used to striking and handling the post and dealing the twist off
Hmm.
and then getting back out versus side to side, pop, side to
Twisting and throwing. You want to
right.
carry it to your partner.
Exactly.
Get a nice
Yeah.
solid
Carry it to your
handoff.
partner and then make sure you're still in good body position.
Hmm.
Get back out to the kick, especially my tackles. A lot of three-man fronts, so you're gonna have a lot of scrape blitzes. So you have a guy spark inside, guy come out. You're gonna have to pass it off.
Yeah.
Hey, hand it to him, stay square, and then be able to kick back out. And so that's
You mentioned something earlier. It just came back around to my mind there. You said you're playing against a 3-3 team. Do you change your pass blocking rules for 3-3 stacks as opposed to just like if you're running against an even front or an odd front, like a regular 3-4 or a 4-3 defense? I'd had big on big rules for 4-3s and for
Mhm.
3-4s. But when we got to that 3-3 stack, I switched my pass block rules up. Do you feel yourself having to do that, or do you just stay with your
And
normal
so
rules?
there was times where I wanted to change, but top down thing, because my head coach is also, here the beautiful thing about Shadow Creek for me is my head coach was my high school offensive lineman,
Oh,
my offensive line
hmm,
coach from high school. And so he stuck with the rules and we're going to slide. But that's if they know to blitz to the running back side, then that kind of puts us in a little bit of a hair versus, hey, y'all two are going to have end and tackle and
hmm,
same thing. And then we'll let the running back sort it from between the center and the mic, right? So we stuck it and we slide opposite the running back still. But preference is 2-on-2, 2-on-2, center and running back work, guys. It's a little bit easier, I feel, especially if they're gonna do, double twists or stunts and stuff like that from the outside, which they did a lot of. And it kind of takes away, okay, they're gonna slide away from the running back. Let's go ahead and send one extra that side.
yeah,
The optics of having, and this is one of the things that I'm learning now as a newer coach, when the defense has a good defensive play and it makes you look silly, they're still going to blame the old line coach.
hmm,
They're still going to, if you're sliding away and everything is handled, but they have that one plus coming from the backside and they still get a pressure or a sack. You can sit in there and try to tell them, well, this we blocked it fine. They don't,
they don't
they don't
care.
care. They don't care. And again, like I said, I'm getting and I'm it's such an honor and such a blessing that my high school O line coach brought me in to be a varsity O line coach and
Hmm.
is trusting me to do stuff. And I'm sure as he sees my work is coming and the guys that get it, he'll let me have a little bit more say so. But
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of get away from it a little bit. But we just right this year we have just stuck with the slide, the backside protection, and
I
it is
one of
what it
those
is.
it was one of those things we had a team come in our district and started running that a bunch with a new coach and so the first time we played him we went into it with our regular pass block rules and all of a sudden I'm like they're bringing an extra guy that we can't pick this up like there's not enough dudes there so I had to
Right.
we're normally one guard had the first line of scrimmage guy, and the tackle had the second line of scrimmage guy. Standard 5-step rules,
Right.
nothing major. And the center would go weak side. So if they brought 4 weak, we'd always have a back. We could pick up 4 weak. And so I started looking at it. And I'm like, man, this isn't going to work. So I changed the rules. And whenever we went against a stacked team, I would have the guard and the tackle, left guard and tackle would sit on the stack on the left, and the center and the right
Right.
guard would sit on the stack in the middle, and the right tackle was solo blocked. And the backs had I guess that would be number 3 weak, and
Got you.
number 3 strong is what they would have. So they had a
Mhm.
double check. That way, if that guy, and one of them's got to drop in coverage. So he'd only, most of the time, if they brought
Right.
both, then somebody's going to be open. And that's why I ended up doing it. And so we always stuck that. And second year ended up being much better. We could throw the ball a little bit better and not have somebody hitting us underneath the
Mhm.
chin every other play
Right.
on the
Right.
pass
And that's
protection stuff. But
it's
we
kinda
weren't a
like
big
this.
slide team. If we slide, getting that slide where you're gapping and all that kind of stuff, it's a little bit different ideas there. So, all right, coach. So
Yeah.
as we get here towards the end, this is my favorite question to ask. I ask all my guests this question because I think the offensive line has a unique opportunity here to gain some notoriety. So we know that the offensive line across the board, from coast to coast, from I've talked to guys in Canada, down here in the United States, I've talked to guys in Mexico. All the offensive linemen are kind of the same mentality, kind of a outside the box thinking group. There's always a joker. There's always somebody that's he has a pregame ritual where he doesn't wash his socks all week, or he eats the same meal, or he drinks stuff that's been sitting in his locker for 5 days because he did it once and it worked. Is there any stories or guys that stick out in your mind that you can tell that from your days playing in high school and college, and or your guys you're coaching now? Is there anything that some funny stories that you can share that would demonstrate and
You know
illustrate what characters the offensive line guys are?
what's funny? I have been maybe it's not a privilege, maybe I have always been the most superstitious guy
Okay, good. So this
of
is
It's
autobiography.
me. Yeah, it's me. I saw high school, I was a don't wash my jersey. Don't wash
Mm,
my jersey. Don't wash my jersey. If we're on a streak, I'm not washing the practice jersey. I'm not washing the practice jersey. And I got the whole O line. I know it's nasty now. This is pre-COVID, guys.
mm,
Okay, so we weren't thinking about germs and stuff. But then I got to college. I had recipes, a great teammate. One of his big things is I had to change my underwear before. So I'll do the game warm up. I'll do the warm up, and then as soon as you go in before the game, I had to change my underwear. I just not like because I would use it. It was just I did it once and had an insane game, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna roll with it. Also, I mean, there was guys that had to have like Kevin Butts. He had to have his pancakes pregame. He had
okay.
to have his pancakes. Kyle Tomase, my center in college, he was going to he was going to drink his gallon of water. He was going to eat his biscuits. He had pregame biscuits. So we always, offensive linemen are just, I don't want, we're quirky. That's the best way I could
Quirky.
put it.
Yeah.
I've always been not superstitious, just a little stitious.
Yeah.
And I kind of,
Semi-stitious.
yeah, semi-stitious. What's a good one? I'm trying to think. Oh, one of the now this is a good in high school. There was my head O line coach and my assistant coach. I mean, he was a firm believer we were going to have to do power. We did power cleans every game day. That was another thing. Yeah, and or it would be power cleans or bench, one of the two. And we were going to compete in the weight room before we played. So the way he would do it, he would be like he'd put weight on the bar and he'd like one to stay in, and it'd be like 185.
Mhm.
And you just knock it out, and then you got two, and it's kind of a round robin kind of style, and then you keep going up in reps until you have a guy who's a winner. I kind of pregame lifts all the way through high school was kind of something I had to do too. But
Wow,
yeah,
that's
no.
interesting.
Yeah, and you kind of thinking about it, is that counterintuitive? The funny thing is, looking back at it, I never felt tired. I never
Yeah.
felt like exhausted. I never felt like I was wore out. So maybe there was something to it. But
We tried that one year. We never lifted on Thursdays or Fridays. We'd always lift on Monday through Wednesday, and maybe every once in a while on Saturday. But we said this year we're going to change this. So we went into our pregame season game and we lifted, and we did like I don't know, like a 20-minute station. I don't know, hit about 8 stations, and we did maybe 2 rotations through it.
Mhm.
And we were all kind of, the head coach wanted to do it. And we're like, all right. And all the assistant coaches were kind of skeptical. And we went out that night. We played a great first half. Come the second half, our guys got gassed, and the other team just drove it right down our neck the whole entire game. Had our
Ooh.
safety who went to Michigan, tore up his ankle, missed the rest of the season because he was tired and his feet were slow, and he got hit low, and
Oh,
so we were like,
man.
all right, done with that crap. We're not
We're
doing
not
that
doing that
anymore.
anymore.
One and
We're not
done.
doing that. Oh,
One and done.
oh, here's another one. I had a teammate. I mean, and it kind of so later in my because I started 4 years. I started all 4 years in my college, but he had to wash and condition his hair pregame. Like he
Oh,
had to wash and condition his hair game day. Had to, and so there was this one point I was like, because he was always my roommate, and this is the same guy called to myself. Look at him like he would put the towel on his head, like wrap his hair, and
like
I'm like,
white dude or black dude? Which like
he's Asian. He's Asian. He
Asian
was an
dude? Okay,
Asian.
even
Asian.
more weird.
Like, had to wash and condition his hair. And like again, I saw it and he had a nice little flow going. I was
Yeah,
like, and at the time I'm bald now, but at the time I had a nice little set of head, head on myself. Like, you know what? Let me try that. And so people would look at us because if we were playing a later game, we team meal, we'd get there and of course we'd walk and we'd be in our team stuff, but we'd have towels on our head.
from
And
yeah.
so people always think like, what the F are y'all doing?
Is
Y'all
that
look
so?
so
You get the little shake in the back with
yeah.
the
Right. So you a little drip, so have a little
yeah.
flow going pregame. So I'm like, I kind of followed suit for a little bit until, like I said, we got our teeth kicked in every week when I was in college. So I was like, okay, this isn't going to last long. So but I think I was probably the weirdest dude. Like everybody always, I mean, I was the jock strap dude, rocked the jock strap when I
Yeah.
was in college. People don't do that anymore. But
No, that's
I
I
mean,
guess that's passe to do that nowadays, huh?
yeah, yeah, no, I tell my guys I did became jockstrap dude my senior year, and that's my best year of football was my senior year. But the reason I was like, I just wanted to feel fresh, and so that's what the whole idea behind changing the
Change your
underwear. And
underwear, yeah.
yeah, so I go and literally we're finishing up team prayer, and I'm butt naked putting some
Trying to
new
get
underwear
everything yeah,
on, yeah,
getting
get everything
redressed.
back, yeah, and so this is, but eventually because I was a dude, and coaches looked, the first few times as a freshman, I got MF'd, but then
Yeah.
okay, hey coach, so this is literally my thing, and it's not gonna affect me, and it's not gonna, and they just kind of let me do it, and it still is like kind of carried on now. And the funny thing is, even now as a coach, I find myself because I'm in the box, so I go, okay, I gotta make time, and that's the tradition that's still kind of carried on,
Oh,
and
there you
it's
go.
still
Alright,
kind of
so it lives on.
and
That's awesome.
yeah, it still kinda is carried on, and like I say, I get looks and still like, "Oh, so, Coach Barner have to change his underwear." I'm like,
It is what it is.
"Hey, it is what it is."
That's
So
right.
I'm comfortable and I'm ready to roll, and I ain't gotta I checked all of my boxes.
That's
I
right.
checked
You gotta
all of my
factor that
boxes.
in.
Exactly,
You
and
gotta
I gotta
factor that in.
once I do that last thing, it's game time. I'm officially in game mode. There is no outside distraction. We're ready to roll. I'm ready to roll. And so I'm probably the most weird or like I said, my stitious dude that I play with. I mean, like I said, from not one, like I said, washing jerseys is pretty common.
Yeah.
But the whole underwear thing, everybody looked at me for years and still
I
kind of look
didn't
at me a little crazy.
I didn't have a whole lot of things. Maybe in high school, I was kinda my helmet, you didn't get to touch my helmet. Like, I didn't want anybody fixing the stickers or like, I wanted
Yeah.
the gouges and the paint and the scrapes and the
Yeah.
scuffs. I wanted all that on there as a battle scar. And then
War paint, man.
yeah, and then and when I started coaching, I guess the one thing I would always do is make sure that when we went off the sidelines before we came together and did a quick little team and pregame, I'd always have the wide receiver coach throw me a ball that I would catch, and I would always put it down on the 3-yard line. And I would put it just, perfectly placed on the
Perfect.
3-yard line, and then I would walk. That was about the only thing I ever really did. So I'm glad that you had some stitions there that
Yeah.
you could share with us.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. And weird and kinda a little weird, no judgment there, but a little weird. Like,
No, like I said, I'm a firm believer. You want to be, you got to be odd to be number one, and that's
yeah.
I just kind of live by that. And like I said, I mean, the one thing that I feel like everybody does nowadays is I had a prayer. Go to the end of the end zone after we come out
Mhm,
as a team. I get my prayer in the corner of the end zone. Another one, and was like I had to listen to my gospel music pregame. It's just one of those things. Like I just and the gospel music is more like I never my relationship with God is something that I do cherish and I do
mhm,
take quite seriously. I'm not a big asker. I don't, oh God, give me this, God, give me that.
mhm.
I'm just grateful. And at times, like I'd be so overcome with gratitude I might cry, and that's
Yeah.
one of the things also people look at. I just game day, I'm not an emotional wreck, but just overcome with gratitude. And so I would be saying my prayers, crying, and listening to my gospel music. And there's a lot of just like little different things that
Mhm.
people, why are you crying
No,
pregame?
I understand that, coach. I always thought, I'm same way there with my relationship with Jesus, that it's important to me, and I always thought that God gave me this ability to play, and I'm out here
Right.
just I'm worshiping, like, this is me out here
Exactly.
doing what you gave me the ability and the passion to do. I would go out right now if I knew that I'd be able to walk after I got done doing it, I'd go out and play football right now, and
Oh,
I know that
right.
my back and my knee would coach, I say that, it's funny, a couple about 10 years ago, we had a playoff game coming up, and my defensive line coach looked at me and goes, "Hey, I need your best pass blocker. They got a really good tackle." I kinda looked over my shoulder one way, and I looked that way, and he goes, "Well, who's your best pass blocker?" And I went, "Well, it's probably still me at this point." So, I grabbed the helmet from one of the kids and buckled it up, and I did one-on-one pass pro with our defensive line with just the helmet on, and held my own pretty good against these. I mean, I hadn't done anything live contact in probably,
You
shoot, I
still
don't
got
know.
it.
It'd been 10, 15 years, probably more than that, and, I did. I held my own, did great. Coach, I couldn't do that for 2.5 weeks. I was
No,
my
one
oh, man, it was the
that's
worst
funny.
ever again. Learned
One
my
of the things I
lesson.
definitely try to do now is I'm not old by any I'm 29 years old. So, but to a high schooler, I might as well be 60 years old.
Yes.
So one of the things I tell them every now and then, like, hey, I went D1. I was the best in the state. I was the best on my team. There's not things that like y'all can do that I haven't done
Yeah.
still. Alex, so sometimes I still race the guys, but I definitely do pass sets and I show them like, hey, coach is still quick now. I still got
Yeah.
it,
I
if I
did all
needed
that
to.
stuff. I punch a bag here and there, but I put that helmet on, and I was like, "Yep, that's probably about 10,
that,
15 years ago now." I was like, never again."
that was the
I mean,
last one.
I was so locked up. My neck was like, "What in the world?" That was the worst feeling I'd had.
Yeah, I could,
Oof, I
you
learned my
know,
lesson there.
it's like riding the bike, man. Once you do it at a certain level, and especially in college and above, like
Mhm.
it's just one of the things. It's just ingrained in you.
Mhm.
It's not. It's never going to go away. And unless it's a father time takes away from you gradually. But until I can't do it anymore, I'm gonna still show these young
That's
guys,
right.
hey, I still got it. I'm
Punch,
gonna
knock 'em over.
exactly,
Fantastic.
exactly,
Fantastic.
exactly.
Well, CJ, I'm so thankful for you coming in and spending some time with us and sharing your ideas and your philosophies with us. And congratulations on your season still going, and your little girl, man. That's awesome. I had five little ones
Thank you,
myself
Paul.
at one point in time. They're all most of them are off and gone. I'll be a granddaddy here in the spring, which will be fun. So we got the
Yeah.
next generation's on its way, and I'm excited about that. And I know that you got
Uh-oh.
all this, like you're just starting to open that present up, man, and see you're gonna have some stepping and walking going on here pretty soon. You have to baby
Mm.
proof the
Oh no,
house, and
she is a full flood, like full. She is run already. She
oh, there
can
we
like
go. Okay, good. So keep you on your
sh-
toes now.
she is exactly.
Good for
And
her.
so I'm so honored, and it is such a privilege for you to even reach out and even want to talk to. Well, like I said, little old me. I'm an offensive lineman through and through. I think sometimes like who cares about offensive? Nobody's ever cared about offensive linemen except for other offensive linemen.
I
So
do. I do.
I appreciate the platform and the opportunity to talk about my ideas, Mr. Paul. It really
Fantastic.
it's been awesome. I look forward to staying in contact and let's say
Absolutely.
hearing more from you in the future, man.
Absolutely, and we'll reach back out. We'll do a follow up next spring with you, and see how the spring ball's going and what you got coming up and what to look for down there in Texas. I'm down that way a little bit. I got most of my kids are they're in the military, so they're down at Fort Hood, down in Austin, and up in Wichita
Okay.
Falls. I'll
Okay.
probably be driving through your part of town down there, and might have to give
Yeah.
you a call and stop in and see the dominant O line
Come on.
facilities. Oh, I forgot to,
Come
Coach. Talk
on.
about that real quick. How can someone see your stuff? Where can they see you if they want more of you at?
So they can follow me at Dominant Lyman on IG, on Facebook, and Twitter. I'm like I said, I train in the Pearland area, Shadow Creek High School to be specifically. So that's kind of where I started because the contacts and stuff like
Hmm.
that. But also Buckley Sports Performance, which is also in the Galleria area. And yeah, just all my clips and stuff are on Instagram. I'm always a DM away. Any guys, I have training stuff coming out this off season, training programs. If you want to train with me, just shoot me a DM. You can follow the get on the website at dominatethetrenches.com.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I ain't hard to find, like Coach Prime said. I ain't hard to find. You can find me anywhere, and I train all ages, from little league to NFL. So I'm here 24/7. I live in the trenches. I'm thinking about O line every day. So if you ever train with me, guys, you're gonna get somebody who is passionate about it and knows what they're talking about, and is willing to learn as well. I'm not. One of the things I always tell my guys is like, hey, it's a two-way relationship.
That's right.
Help me help you. One of the favorite questions I always ask, like, what can I do to be better? What can I do to be
Mhm.
a better coach for you? That's my favorite question of all time. Hey, and that means, yeah, I got to learn something new, learn how to talk, learn how to communicate differently. I'm all for it.
Or even
So
break it down differently, yeah.
exactly. One of the things that you got to be constantly changing and evolving just
Mhm.
with the game. So I take immense pride in that aspect of it. So you won't ever, one guy's going to get one thing that they need and another guy's going to get something different because not everybody hears it the same way.
That's
So
right. Agree with you 100%, coach. Well, that's the wisdom from CJ Barner and the Barner way that we just discovered. We just coined that phrase today. So I hope to hear that and see that a lot more often around. And coach, I'm grateful for you taking opportunity and taking time out of your schedule to share with us. And as we get out of here today, I want to encourage you to have a great night. And remember, master the trench and you'll win the battles.
absolutely.
Hope you're enjoying trenchometry. Assuming that you are, please hit that like button and subscribe. Remember, master the trench, you win the war.